Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the last song of the album, which is probably just an instrumental outro. But yeah, we have quite a bit of fun stuff planned for today. But wait a second, first of all, we have to listen to this beautiful song called Rebirth. That was the intro song, remember? It's kind of a, how do we call that in English? Vinyl record with that bit of scratchiness and noise in the background. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I love that echoing sound. It has this fairy tale-esque feeling to it. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, kind of ambiguous feeling to it. It's called Rebirth. It's more of a, of course it's like closing up the mood of the album a bit, but it also functions as a teaser to what's coming with this old vintage version of the intro song of the album and then transitioning into a very fast heartbeat, the death of the old sound and something new arising from it. Like honestly, it's a bit of an odd feeling to go through this chronologically in weekly steps. Feels almost like a bit of rediscovering Galneryus from anew. Especially like in this one, we had a lot of strong songs. I think what works for me best in this album is really the heaviness. We have some really strong entries for Yamabe's voice. So it's kind of interesting to see in the following period of time how it affects my listening habits. And there's kind of a few songs that really stuck with me that hadn't even been in my playlist before. And this is probably an invitation for you as well. If you want to like point out a top 5 or a 3 or anything, you don't even have to rank it, just naming your favorites if you want and why they are your favorites. In my case, I think one of my highlights actually was Raid Again. We can just like listen a bit into it for a second. Such a badass song. I think someone had mentioned that it's a song composed by Yamabe, and it's just like so very fitting. The sound differs a bit from your typical Galneryus Shoe songs. The focus is a lot on going all in on his voice. Like I think it's probably the most powerful song, which is quite an achievement actually in the context of this album where we have a lot of like really outgoing songs. It now gets hard already because, well, I've mentioned before, for example, I really like Braving Flag and I think I still do. But yeah, there was a lot of intricacies in some other songs which just like baffled me when listening to them. Especially some of the slower songs also really vibed with me this time. Heavy Curse, for example, has never stood out to me, but sometimes I tend to listen to it because it just has this really groovy riffage. Yeah, and how could I forget it? Like Vanishing Hope, for example. That was just really surprising me because it was also pretty unconventional. I think first and foremost because it's another song by Junichi. Junichi, I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's pretty much the most proggy song of the album with a lot of variety, an interesting solution for the solo section, and like all of that. It was just hectic and had a lot of transitions. I could mention pretty much every song. Point of No Return is a no-brainer. Shriek of Vengeance is a no-brainer because I already knew I would enjoy those songs. But what kind of reignited a spark for me was, I think it was actually My Last Farewell, the music video one. It is one of the more calm songs. It just has such a nice and characteristic sound. We have the stars, we have a lot of synth stuff. The intro sounds a bit like, it reminds me a bit of this pop song Maniac, but it already has the electric guitars and all of the stuff mixed in, which makes it distinctly sound like metal and Galneryus. Just a really nice song, and I also listened to this a lot afterwards, actually. This was just a brief revisit, and now we're gonna look if you had any last words about the album. Here we have a comment of a very active viewer. I don't know your name, although I should be able to read it. This song, referring to Braven Flag, where the comment was posted, is also covered by the vocals of Masatoshi Ono. In that case, the impression will change considerably. Braving Flag is one of those songs which go for that heaviness. I can totally see that, how the song will feel very differently. There are two trivia about this album. As a production team, Shep, which worked on Nordic metal such as Nocturnal Rites, is participating. Therefore, is the sound quality different from the previous albums? Well, I think some people have mentioned in the very beginning that there is notable differences. I would say yes. Like, I'm not an expert, right? I'm not even talking about the general sound here. I think they've done a lot of cool stuff they hadn't done before, let's say that. But I can't really say more, so if you know more about the technicalities of it, maybe you can hear specific differences here. Another thing is that the 3 jacket illustrations so far are in the work of Yoshitaka Amano. I wasn't aware of the fact that this was also made by him. I really like the dude. As we've mentioned in the very beginning, how those things are merged, how the dragon is posed here. I really like that, and just a mountain silhouette in the foreground, and this almost looks like a tower of some sort, so it also sparks your imagination and all of that stuff, and it fits really well to the sound of the album. So that's a very cool cover art. He's an amazing person who designs characters for the game Final Fantasy. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, especially like the older titles, and what stood out to me there as well was his artwork, so it kind of hits the sweet spot between all of those disciplines. We're just experimenting here, okay? So there weren't a lot of like general comments about the album, but if we're at it already, we can just like read a few. Flag Metal writes, I have been listening to Galneryus for nearly 10 years. This is a song that really made me like them when I first knew them. Although the song doesn't seem to be particularly outstanding among all their works, but every time Yamabi's voice sounds in the chorus, I feel very good. So much so that I think no live version can surpass the studio version of the song. I agree with the chorus. There's just something really gripping about the chorus of Braving Flag. I also listen to lives, and I also love the lives, but I really want to give the studio version some love. I just think it's interesting to focus on the qualities of like both. JLP writes, this was the first song I listened of them while playing Rome Total War. Absolute epic. How lucky I was for finding this song. I've already answered to that. I also like to listen to Galneryus or like power metal in general if when playing certain games. In my case, it was Dark Souls because I'm really shitty at hard video games, and sometimes I just need that push with the double pedals to get the energy to try certain bosses, for example. So that's always a pretty cool experience, and I think especially this album has a very nice atmosphere that goes very well with the Souls games. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone watching and interacting and enjoying the music. That's the most important stuff. Tune in next week when we're gonna listen to... It's a bit complicated actually, but we're definitely gonna listen to something. See you then.